Hello folks, thanks for watching, and sorry this is a day later than normal. Hope I didn't disappoint too many of you at 8:30 on Sunday when the video didn't arrive. I was away with work for my sort of day job all last week and I just didn't get time to do it in time. So here we are, a day late but hopefully not a dollar short. By the way, I should just add that as punishment for me doing this a day late, I've just recorded this entire video once before realising that the microphone was turned off. So here we go for a second time round. Keep watching. Climate activists who deflate car tyres reveal plan to target thousands more SUV drivers and won't stop even if they cause accidents. So there's a group that are calling themselves the tyre extinguishers. Nice one. They're going around and deflating the tyres of large SUVs that are being used in cities. They've done it on about 3,000 vehicles since March, they claim, and their campaign is escalating fast. They then leave a letter on your windscreen telling you they've done it and telling you what a horrible person you are, and with a general wish that you get athlete's foot or something like that. Police are saying that they're trying what they can to stop them, but really, with the number of police on the streets these days, it seems unlikely that too many of them are going to get caught. It's great when people believe in a cause and they want to try and do something to make a change. Going around and doing things like this and gluing yourself to roads and things like that. Surely it's better to do something that actually builds public support for you and not do the exact opposite by vandalising things or causing chaos. So their spokesman gave their name as Marion Walker, told Sky News, "We want to strike fears into anyone who drives a huge polluting SUV in a UK city. There comes a point where asking politely and protesting has stopped working, and it's time for action to sabotage the machines that are killing us." The Vauxhall Insignia has been axed in the UK, but is set to return as an EV by 2026. The executive saloon's been taken off sale just 2 years after a facelift as Vauxhall ramps up electrification plans. So Vauxhall have said that they've actually stopped the Insignia right now, but they are going to continue to fulfill current orders. There's no plan to replace it in the short term. Vauxhall have a plan in place to offer an electric version of every current petrol or diesel car by 2024 and to go 100% electrified by 2028. Bit sad that the Insignia's gone. I had a few of them as hire cars over the years, and I must admit, I was always really impressed with them, especially on the motorway. They're just really nice cars to drive and quite quiet. No issues with them whatsoever. Lexus have come out and sort of reminded us that they're not just an SUV brand, particularly as now they're becoming, fully electrified. The first two EVs are SUVs, but they still plan for saloons and supercars to be coming out in future. There are a couple there that I think we can all get really quite excited about if they actually look anything like that once they're in production. But basically they've said they can't ignore the demand for SUVs, but they still want to service the rest of the market. Obviously Lexus have built their brand really on big luxury saloons, so hopefully they are still going to feature heavily in the lineup in future. A Mclaren to take over the Mercedes Formula E team for Season 9. Woking enters its fourth global motorsport series in time for the introduction of a 200-mile-an-hour Gen 3 Formula E car. I think we'll see more and more of this from the big name Formula 1 cars moving into Formula E. You have to think that Formula 1 will go to alternative fuels sooner rather than later, probably synthetics rather than battery or hydrogen, I would have thought, but who knows. It looks like a straight switch, so Ian James, who's the boss of the Mercedes EQ, their Formula E team, will take over McLaren Racing Formula E team. No mention of the driver lineup as yet. So what about this one? Namks. How do we say that, folks? You're going to have to let me know in the comments because I've got absolutely no idea. Anyway, it's going to be a 542 brake horsepower fuel cell EV with swappable hydrogen tanks. This is quite interesting, 500-mile range. So there it is. Not a particularly outstanding looking thing. It's you can certainly see where it's got a tip of the hat to one or two other brands. But there's the fuel cell. So there are 6 of these swappable fuel cells within that car. And the idea is it runs out. There you go. So they're stored along the back there in plain sight. So the idea is you're getting low, you pull into a station and you literally take one of those out and pop a replacement in and get on with your journey. On the face of things, it looks like a good solution, okay, because we know it's difficult to transport and build refueling infrastructure for hydrogen vehicles, okay? And obviously one of the drawbacks with battery vehicles is that they take a long time to charge, or in relative terms in any case. I know if the battery's really low and you want to put some in for a short journey, it doesn't have to take too long. But in general, it takes a lot longer to charge a battery car than it does to fill up with petrol. And this solution seems like a good one. This is going to live or die, as far as I'm concerned, by a couple of things. One being the price, how much will it charge you to swap these cells over when you need to? And B, is each brand going to have a different platform? Because if these fuel cells become used in other cars and they have sort of a common technology, so that you can use your NAMPS fuel cell in your Toyota, or you can use it in a Honda, or you can use it in a Ford, or whatever else happens to have it. So much like a USB, is it going to be a universal technology? Would you be able to use this in different vehicles? If that's the case, if all the brands can come together and agree on a common platform, absolutely brilliant. Possibly it could work. But if you imagine having to go into a brand specific station to swap over your fuel cell, I really can't see that happening. Price of those looks like it's going to start around 55 grand and go up to about 82 grand by the looks of things. By the way, previous stories, we had one from Sky, then a few from Autocar, we're now on Auto Express. World's car bosses fear supply chain crisis will slow electric car production. Really? So quite a few bosses have spoken at the Financial Times Future of the Car Summit earlier this week. Elon Musk from Tesla, Herbert Diess from VW, Luca De Meo from Renault, and Carlos Tavares from Stellantis have all been talking about this. And they're saying that many people are a bit over-optimistic about how quickly the transfer to full electric vehicles can happen. We need the energy, we need the charging networks, we need the infrastructure, for sure we need the cars, but we also need batteries and raw materials. So aside from the whole semiconductor issue, which by the way is not showing any signs of slowing down at the moment, aside from all that, aside from some of the issues around parts that were sourced from Ukraine, there's also a lack of raw materials such as lithium, which is used in the production of car batteries. And lots of the bosses of these big companies are saying that we need to be a bit more realistic, because we literally cannot produce enough cars within the timescales that have been put forward. So VW, for example, originally planned to produce 700,000 EVs in 2022, but recently revealed that it had effectively sold out of all its EV models in the US and Europe, and it would be unable to produce any more until next year. Renault have said it's now unlikely to achieve its target of making its mid-size electric cars at the same price as petrol and diesel machines by 2025. The game has changed, he told the FT, and we have to play by new rules. Right, the new VW Aero B spied ahead of its 2023 launch. This appears to be basically the electric replacement to the VW Passat. In my eyes, it's a very welcome addition to the market, because in terms of that saloon space, you really have only got Tesla Model 3 and the Polestar 2 that are really sort of competing, and the Passat has always been a massive seller, and I think it will be a welcome arrival. It's very likely to be given an ID name, because all the VW electric cars are an ID something. They're saying it could have 435 miles of range, which will certainly trump the aforementioned Polestar 2 and Tesla Model 3. And there's also a suggestion that it's going to have 200 kilowatt charging. So these are the spy shots of the car. I think it's quite nice looking. It's not particularly daring or anything, but it seems like a natural evolution from the Passat, really. And there's certainly a couple of nods to the other ID cars that are on sale. Don't forget, the other one that will be coming to market is this one, the Hyundai Ioniq 6. It looks like we'll probably be seeing these within the next 12 months. This one's obviously heavily disguised, but I guess you can get a general idea for what it may look like. And then the iconic Voxel Manta name is going to return on an all-new electric SUV. So in a previous video, we saw some sort of suggested shots of a new Opel Manta. That was quite different. That looked a bit like a sort of Capri rival. This is the Vauxhall Manta, and it's going to be on an all-electric SUV. It looks like this is going to come towards the end of 2025. There's not too much more information on that at the moment, other than it's probably going to have 300 miles of range. There we go. I'm not in love with it. Each to their own and all that. I don't mind if you are. I just don't know why you'd use the Manta name on something that's not, but there you go. Right, this is a big one. This from Car Magazine. So Ford reveals all new e-Transit custom electric van. By the way, before you switch off, this will also be available as a petrol plug-in hybrid and also a diesel. The really interesting thing for this is this new Transit Custom would also be the base of the new VW Transporter. So the Transit Custom is obviously not only the biggest selling van in Europe, it's the biggest selling vehicle in Europe. Get your head around that. And the VW Transporter is the one that every sort of enthusiast seems to love, don't they? Everyone wants a T5 or a T6 or whatever it is. So this is a new one. So Ford are hoping for a range of 236 miles, but that's not yet confirmed. It's going to have DC fast charging, the latest Ford Pro onboard software, and it looks like it will also have the ability to power tools from your van or charge tools from your van, which is quite a nice touch for a tradesman. Obviously, given the size of the vehicle, the range is still not breathtaking, is it? But how many people using a van really need to have that range? Obviously some do, but lots of local tradespeople, lots of local delivery people, and it might be quite sufficient. Interesting to see how this one develops, because it's very, very likely to be the biggest selling electric van. It's very likely to be the biggest selling diesel van, and probably the biggest selling plug-in hybrid van. Folks, if you haven't already done so, please give this video a thumbs up. My news videos are not getting shown to as many new viewers as usual, and I have noticed that the thumbs up have gone down, so please do remember to give it a thumbs up, because YouTube really do take that into account quite a lot. Please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe if you haven't already done so, thanks. This from the BBC, sports car convoys prompt NC500 safety fears. So the Scottish Tourist Board have spent a lot of money in recent years promoting the North Coast 500 for people to go and drive. Obviously that's going to attract some enthusiast drivers. So lots of drivers have been going up there in luxury cars and performance cars, driving a bit antisocially, and the locals are not very happy about it. So police are putting some extra patrols on the route, unmarked vehicles and what have you. And they're asking that if you go and do it, please do so responsibly. I'd really like to do that, by the way, and if this channel develops to a point where I can continue to do it, then I'd like to do that one day. Right, just to finish off, I always love these stories. Despite numerous warnings and lots of signage and police cones and all the rest of it, this guy's left his car parked on a street when it's about to be resurfaced, so they've just resurfaced around it. Love it. That's all for this week, folks. I will be back on Sunday at 8:30. I promise you, it won't be late this week. So please tune in then. And please like and please subscribe if you haven't already done so. I like to think I produce a wide, varied range of content on the channel. So make sure you're watching it. If you are already subscribed, hit the notification bell. And if you would like to buy me a coffee, you can pop over to notaguru.co.uk, or you can use my link tree, which is down in the video description and pinned as the top comment. Follow me on the socials, buy me a coffee, do something good. Thanks very much indeed. See you next time.